there, book lovers! Today I'd like to discuss The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne. I've been mildly afraid to read this book until recently. A few years ago, I watched the movie with my parents. It was the first I had ever heard about The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. I put up a bit of a fight when my parents suggested this movie. I'd heard nothing about it and expected some childish story, something I was definitely not interested in. Instead, the movie turned out to be one of the most tragically beautiful stories I had ever heard. And when I found out that the movie was based on a book, I knew I had to read it. But it sat on my shelf for nearly a year and a half because I knew how brokenhearted I would be when I finally read it. It isn't a very large book, and is a very simple read despite its heavy content. The story is about a 9-year-old boy named Bruno, and Bruno lives in Germany in 1942. His father has just been promoted in the army, and Bruno and his family must move far away from their comfortable home in Berlin to a place that is completely different. And outside of his new bedroom window, there is a fence. And behind that fence are some of the strangest people that Bruno has ever seen, and they all wear striped pajamas. This book, while written in the third person, is through the eyes of Bruno. He is young and naive, and while a war rages around him, he stays immune to all the cruelty that surrounds him. He doesn't understand why there are soldiers in his house night and day. He doesn't understand why a man who works as a servant in his home would say he's a doctor when he's really just a waiter. And even when he befriends a strange little boy on the other side of the fence named Shmuel, he doesn't understand the sadness that his new friend possesses, or why Shmuel never invites him over to play. I've heard arguments about this book, saying that no one who lived in that time, even if they were young and naive, could have ignored the gruesome truths of what was going on around them. I don't know if this is true. But even if the character of Bruno is far-fetched and unlikely, I still think that he is one of the most inspirational and amazing characters in the literary world. Despite living in such an evil time where prejudice and malice are everywhere, he manages to hold on to his innocence. He befriends a little Jewish boy who has done nothing wrong save be born in the wrong culture, place, and time, and sees nothing but a child just like himself, albeit a little strange. The ending of this novel is wonderful in a tragic, heart-wrenching sort of way. It was the ending that had me too afraid to read it for so long, but it is also the ending that makes it one of the most powerful and amazing stories I've ever read. The book is easy and quick to read, and at times I felt like the writing was even shallow, but its brilliance just keeps growing page after page. It is a book that I think would be harder for younger readers to understand, at least fully. But I do think that this is a book that everyone should read at some point in their lives. It's only just over 200 pages, and it reads so quickly and easily. Even if the probability of a character like Bruno's existing during World War II is slim, I still think that the message that this book puts across is something that every single person in this world could learn from, and I definitely think it's something that we need to practice in our lives. We are all the same, no matter our race, circumstance, or culture. We could all use a little less hate in our lives, am I right? This is a beautiful book that I definitely recommend. If you are interested in buying The Boy in the Striped Pajamas by John Boyne, there are links below this video. And don't forget to check out my blog to catch up on book updates and more.